we have a 12-week curriculum that the teams use who participate, and so the curriculum helps to guide them through this process so that they can submit a successful project. As part of this, of the past year, we've created some climate units, so specific to particular SDGs. And so Laura Mendez is one of the girls I work with. She's an alumni from Technovation, and she created a drop-in. It's an app called Drop-In, and the idea behind it was to pin polluted areas as well as protected water areas around the world. So she worked on this app, and we highlighted it as part of our curriculum. So today I want to talk a little bit more about kind of taking this to the next level, which would be to include some sort of AI model. So what we developed is what we call the Clearwater app, and the idea behind the app is similar to what she had, is where you can pin certain water sites in your location or near you. So it's a crowdsourcing of posts of water sites. And then users are able to click on these little drones to learn more about that particular water site. And note that they've got different colors, so the brown is polluted, the blue is clean. And then you can also report a water site yourself. So you can add a title, a description about the water site, and then you can also take a picture, and then this is where the AI comes in. So we can build an AI model that's going to actually detect whether or not the water is clean or polluted based upon this AI training. So how do we get there? So what I use to develop the app is software called App Inventor, created at MIT, and they have kind of built in this image classification system. So you are able to train your model and then feed it directly into App Inventor, where you can create your app. So step one is training the model. So it's a website, classifier.appinventor.mit.edu, and what you do is you just say, okay, I want to label things, and in this case, I want it to label clean water sites versus dirty water sites or polluted water sites. So you say, okay, I want to label them, so I just label mine clean and dirty, and then you can either take pictures, so that's what, this is me doing, so you can capture things live, but you can also upload images. So I had several pictures that I just uploaded, and then the next thing is that you train it and then test it. So in this case, you can just, again, upload a picture, and then it will classify it as, in this case, it says this is dirty. So the idea behind it is you would train your model, and then reserve some of your data to then test it to make sure that it works. Once you're satisfied that your model is trained well and it's pretty accurate, what you do is then export it, and it just exports a file. And then just to explain where I got my data, I went online and looked up data sets on Kaggle, also Google data search, and found these two sites. So I was able to gather about 300 pictures that other people had collected. This is the website if you wanted to access that. I've got it all saved on Google Drive. And then the next step would be to actually then go in and actually create the app in App Inventor. So again, that's the website up there, ai2.appinventor.mit.edu. To use it, you do have to set up an account using Gmail. And then this is what it looks like. It's a platform where you can design your app with multiple screens, and in this case I made 3 different screens. And then you code it using blocks-based language. So it's all visual, and it's very, I wouldn't say easy, but it's a quick on-ramp to learning how to code and how to make an app. This is what I'd say about half of the girls that participate in Technovation use. There's another platform called Funkable, similar idea, block space language. So let me just go through the different parts of this app and how it works. So we have the first screen, which comes up and shows you a map. I'm based just outside of Boston, so that's why it comes up on the east coast of the US. And the idea is that once it opens, it's going to read posts that other people have gone onto the app and posted, and that's all stored on a Google spreadsheet. So again, a very easily accessible place to store data that kids can use. And then once it reads the post, it displays them as markers on the map. And then if a user taps on any of the water droplets, it's going to open a second screen, which is where they can view the information about that particular post. There's a button at the top that says report new site. So if I decide I'm out in the field and I want to report a site that's either very clean or very dirty, I can click on the report new site button, and then the app will say, well, do you want to use the location? Are you out there in the field, or you just want to report on a place? And you can tap the map to set the location of where you want to post it. And then it will jump to the post screen. So the post screen is set up like this, so you can enter your title, your description, and just to say who posted it, you can enter your username. It's going to display the latitude and longitude passed in from screen 1, which is either your location or if you tapped on the map. So the user will fill in all the information. The user has the option to take a picture. So if they do, the app will go out, take the picture, save it, and then it's going to call the classifier that we trained using the classifier.applementor.mit.edu. And then it's going to ask the user to confirm, this looks clean, this looks like a clean place, or it looks like a dirty place. Confirm that that is true, because we don't want to be putting inaccurate information up there. And then once that happens, then it will store that information, and then the user can say, okay, I'm ready, I want to submit it. If there's a picture included, we store the picture in the cloud. The particular platform that we used is Cloud.ary, because it's a free open source that you can store images at. It will get the location of that and then store all that information along with the title, the description, and the username in the Google spreadsheet, and then go back to screen 1, and then that marker will appear. And then the last screen is the view post screen. So if I decide I want to go look at someone else's post by clicking on one of those markers, it will display the information, and then put up the picture, and then there is an option for choosing language. So if you wanted to read the information in a different language, you can do that. So it will translate the content, and then otherwise goes back to screen 1. And then, as I mentioned, all the data is stored in a Google spreadsheet. So again, really easy to set up. You just set up the information that you want to store. In this case, I had the title, the latitude and longitude of the exact location, a description that the user would enter. This is the Cloud.ary URL. So once I store it in Cloud.ary, it returns that information, and then I have a username, and then it also stores the class, which we've identified as either clean or dirty. Okay, so now I want to actually show how this works. So I can, let's see. Go here. So this is my phone, and I've got the Clearwater app. So it comes up and it should jump to your location. So it detected that I'm here in Dubai. I did create a post yesterday here. So if I click on it, sometimes, there we go. So it will jump to, this is the viewing of the post. And it took a moment, but we're staying down at JBR Beach. So that's not a real picture of that, but so you can view that, and then if I say choose language, and we could do Arabic, and it will translate for you. You can choose a different language, and then you can go back. So then say I want to report a new site. So it says you can either choose on the map or use my location. So I will say use my location, and then I can type in information. So I will say, even though there's no water here, and then we can add a picture. I'll just take a random picture of this. So it has to classify, that's one thing about AI models, it has to classify it as either dirty or clean, because those are the only two options I gave it. So even though it's a computer, it just picked one, right? So I will say yes, I'll just, actually no, it's cotton, it's not dirty. So, okay, so it did say, okay, I'll adjust it to clean, and then I'll say, let me submit that. I think it just is taking a moment to. I should add a second one close by. Yeah, there's two of them now. So the second one has been added to that. So that's generally how the app works. So let me go back, and then we can. So if you'd like to try it, you have to have an Android phone though. That's the caveat. So App Inventor is a great platform. It does interact with iOS, but there are certain permissions that Apple locks down on. So right now we don't have it completely working so that it can work on iOS, but it does work on Android. So if you scan this, it should give you an APK file, which is actually just a compiled app. And then you can just follow the instructions to go ahead and install it on your phone. And then you can try it out. And then maybe you even want to code it. That would be the next step. So what I've got here is a partially completed app. So basically a good portion of it would just be the AI part of it and the cloud and every part of it that's not completed. And then I've actually, if you're interested, you could use the assets. So I've got all the pictures and everything stored up there, so you could access that, so that you could actually complete the app. We're also going to give you a link to these slides, so if you wanted to have any of this information for later, you could have that as well. Okay, so just this can give you just an idea of what the blocks look like in App Inventor. So, so the personal image classifier, that's the classification. So everything is, if you can see, these are like puzzle pieces. So the idea behind it is, and they're color coded. So like the gold ones are events. You know, the classifier's ready after the picture's taken. And then within that, we have things that are taking action, setting things. So everything's color coded so that students get used to how it all works, and this is a great way for them to also learn how to code. So this is the post screen, setting the pictures to either clean or dirty based upon the classification, saving the picture to the cloud, and then finally storing the post to Google Sheets. Are there any questions on what I've shown you? I know I've shown you a lot.
I have a question.
Sure.
So you said that the AI model basically detects if the water body is clean or dirty.
Yeah.
So based on what is the criteria?
Right, so I just did this as an example. So what I did was I just downloaded data sets that I found that had, and you might have seen from the one with the water gushing out of the pipe. They were very obviously polluted areas. So I did it just as an example, but you could definitely go out in the field and take pictures and try to, based on either, you can see algae or something like that, or cloudiness or unclear
So
water.
you can identify like other objects based on the picture, like not just the plastics, I would say. So does the AI model has the ability to detect?
It will not detect particular objects within it. It's merely for classification of the entire image. And so for my purpose, I was saying I either want to find a whether or not this water that I'm taking a picture of is polluted or clean. And so that's all that I'm covering at this point. I'm not doing anything further, like detecting like certain pieces of plastic.
I do have a question actually. With regards to when it's being identified based on the criteria, that in my opinion is great. But what's being done on the posted information, especially with regards to what's being reported as a faulty area in a beach or in a particular environment? What's the action that's really being taken on this?
You mean once they post it?
Yeah, because I understand that there is awareness being sent towards the problem, but where is the solution?
That's a good question. So really, the issue is awareness and letting people potentially report in their area. These are places that you don't want to go. I mean, you could also identify it as even clean drinking water, right? So it would be very useful for people in an area where that is an issue.
Especially helpful people that come out and do these initiatives, which is a really good idea to bring the community together instead of letting them depend on other people.
Right.
Very good.
Yeah, and the idea also is that everyone's doing it, right? You're working together and identifying things and helping each other. That's a very good question. Taking action is also important. Okay. All right. So at this point, I'm going to introduce our next speaker, who is another alumni that I work with on this climate project, Giovanna Romero from Mexico, and so she's going to talk about her journey with Technovation.
Yeah, I'm a Technovation alumni. I participated in the 2020 season, and actually I used the AI models for identifying venomous species in the Mexico area. So I did my app, and we were the regional winners in the Latin America area. So now I wanted to summarize everything that Tara and Karen has said. Well, the first thing is, we have all these stories, all these girls developing new solutions, but what's behind it? What are the key ingredients that we need for that to happen? So the first thing is community. I found that the mentors and the other girls in the Technovation clubs that I have been into are key for not only inspiring others, but for helping each other and ask each other questions and reach out and also help each other. Because it's not easy to dive into technology always, but if you have this sense of community and that you're being helped and that people are learning with you along the way, you will do it. The other thing is flexibility. I mean, having girls the opportunity to choose which problems are meaningful to them and to solve them, I think it's key, because that not only helps people stick with what they're solving, what they're building, not only for one Technovation season, but I've been helping girls and they continue to develop their projects 1 year or 2 years after they have participated. And the third thing is bravery. Sometimes AI and coding can sound like something difficult to do, but once you dive in and start just putting one block on your app, making one button function, that's what helps you to see that there's no limit and there are no boundaries once you get started. So then I will dive in a little bit more into what's my journey in Technovation. So this is my team. We developed this AI image classification problem for venomous species back in 2020. But we learned that we could still do more. So then I joined Karen and Tara last year to develop this app. This app was for mapping biodiversity. So we gathered data from the International Union for Conservation and Nature, and we developed this kind of map. A huge map from across the world where you can see, for example, in Latin America, these are the species that are in danger, so what can people do to help them? But also, I think that the most important behind that is that we knew that together we could not only find real world solutions, but help each other and raise awareness with other girls that were doing things similar to us. And I think this is really important. I mean, right now I study engineering, mechatronics engineering, but I found that science and technology is not just one degree that you get once you're at the university or studying. It's a new way of thinking. You start finding these problems. When you find one problem, you start looking and finding a lot of possibilities, boundless possibilities. And it's a way of approaching these day-to-day problems. Because, for example, I've been also a mentor in Technovation, because now I can't participate because of my age. But, for example, one girl, she was about 7 years old. She created the app for composting. And she developed this pretty cute game because she has kind of a pet. And all the game was about this pet trying to solve the different challenges for composting and then helping their family raise their garden better. So that's something that we know that once we empower one girl, we're helping her look around, connect with her environment, and to start acting. Then I found out that, I participated in Technovation for one season, but there's a lasting impact on that. It not just stopped with participating in the 2020 season. I developed different projects related to climate solutions using not only code with blogs or AI, but also I've learned how to build websites. I learned how to wire all these things because that's actually a project that I just developed in Canada for classifying pollutants using artificial olfaction. Also, I developed these fictitious climate e-commerce where you can find products that are out of this world or they are not yet being sold, but that could have been a good solution for a climate problem. The other project I did was this simple carbon tracker that I actually use that for helping other girls in my own community. So we created a group of researchers, female researchers, and a group of high school and middle school girls. And the researchers were mentoring these girls to develop climate solutions. And one of those workshops we run for that was to develop this carbon tracker for them. And also, I found out that it's not just the projects that I develop, but I can help others develop their own projects with all this knowledge that I have gathered along the years. And one of those, this photo, is for a camp that was held during the summer with the US Department of State, United Nations Foundation, Girl Up. So they had this crew of 100 girls from the US, Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, and all of them were interested in using science and technology for solving projects related to the SDGs. So at the end, there were about 30 projects from girls from all over the world solving the different issues, both climate issues and also social issues that they looked in their communities. So we can say that it's not only just one girl you're empowering. Once you're empowering one girl, you are creating this ripple effect for all the girls that are around her. And diving a little bit more, because the title of our talk today is related to AI, I'll explain a little bit of how we can use not only software but also hardware for developing an AI solution. So this year I worked on this device that you may be thinking, what's that? Well, that works like an artificial nose. So this sensor, it's kind of the nose. There are 4 different sensors within it, and it actually gives these graphs that we send to the internet. And then once we have this data from time and kind of gas sensing data, we have the opportunity to train a model. So we took all these time steps into a time series. And these time series then were classified into different pollutants in the air. For example, if you have ammonium, or if you have methane, or if you have CO2 within the space you're staying, or the water that is near there, you can identify which pollutant you're having by using artificial intelligence and these hardware sensors that I talked about. And I think to summarize everything, we can say that once you have these skills, resources, and networks that technology and organizations like Technovation can provide girls with, and you find out that there's a problem around you, it could be either a climate problem, for example, the one Tara mentioned with the birds, or the one that I saw related to pollutants in air and water, and also when you know that this can bring people together, that this can drive action, and that you can help other girls and women develop these abilities, these solutions, there's where your climate action is. So I think that's really important. You don't have to be an expert on technology to start solving and creating your own solutions. You just have to take this one step. You can help a girl, you can start, for example, trying the App Inventor project Karen mentioned. And there's one thing that I wanted to point out, and is that, we are today gathered here at COP, but COP happens just once a year. But this is something we can do all year round. We can help a girl that is interested in applying to Technovation. We can mentor one person that wants to start learning how to code, that's interested in science and technology. That's something we can do every day, not just one day in the year. And we will play this video about Technovation and the experience some girls had, so that we can see the impact around the world.